Hi friends, this is Sarah from Crafting and Relaxing. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. This is a process video for my project share that I did in Joy of Blue. In our collaborations, we try to keep our videos short because we know you're hopping around and watching a lot of people that day, but I'm doing the project, I filmed it, so I'm happy to share the process with you. This was a kit that I got from Melody Made, and in the other video I showed you all the lusciousness in the kit. It had this piece of, I think it's watercolor goodness that a friend had actually made and sent to her, and I just loved it. It spoke to me. This concept, what she sent me the kit for, is glue book pages. So it is mixed media, but it's more about getting your images from other places, maybe not drawing them or stenciling them, and just gluing things down on the page that make you happy. So it's perfect for Joy of Blue. It should be a calming and relaxing process. Many people do this in a magazine, just on top of the pages, and thickens up the book. Or you could do it in a Dollar Tree journal. I'm using my art journal because I haven't really done this before, and I don't know that I want to start a separate book. And I wanted my page to be in my actual art journal. So there are no rules. If you're a no rules person, then glue booking is even more for you than some of the other stuff. But I typically don't have rules in anything anyway. These blue lips, oh my gosh, if I had this lipstick, I would wear it, you guys. I don't know where I would go. I guess you can't really wear lipstick with masks, can you? But oh my gosh, it's awesome. Then I liked the quilt. You know, there's quilting in my family and I'm really into it, so I loved that. And then I just grabbed a bit of fabric and I was just grabbing things that make me happy. I probably should have used a glue stick, but that bottle of matte gel is pretty empty and I was trying to use it up. And I'm using my Dollar Tree spatula, which is a little thick and clunky. I don't think I would use it for a glue book again, but you know, like I said, this was something I was trying out. It's not really something I'm experienced at. I do have glue sticks. I just wasn't sure how well they would hold with the really thick papers. So maybe for the thinner ones, I should have used glue stick and then just busted out the matte medium here and there. I get coated to the point where I can't stick things down because my fingers have so much glue on them. I'm pretty sure I don't have any fingerprints. Just bits of green even because I had fun bringing that in. And you're really just sticking things down that make you happy. If you watch Melody, and I'll link to her channel down below, I'll try and remember, she has a great eye for how she lays things out on the page and the focal point and that kind of thing. I don't really think I'm there yet, but I have lots of fun. This blue butterfly napkin, oh my gosh, sign me up. If I could buy a package of those, I would, and I would play with them all day long. I would make cards, journal pages, everything. Love it. So it had to be on my page, and I couldn't exactly figure out where I wanted it. So I experimented. There were also some scrumptious fabric bits in this kit that she sent me. I decided to put those in another journal of some sort, something that someone would open and touch and see on a regular basis, because this book, it doesn't get opened and closed, you know, every day. So I decided some of the things she sent me, like you can see in the left right there, there's tulle with iridescent spots on it. I couldn't put that in this book. It needs to be somewhere more visible. Look, I love that blue puffy, just a splash of it for more interest. So you have images from the magazine, you've got some art back there, then the blue off of this napkin. She sent me so many good napkins. I could have made an entire glue book with what she sent me. Then a bit of fabric. You can't go wrong with navy fabric. And I was just experimenting. Since I hadn't really done this before, I didn't layer a whole page down, and I didn't know that I had a page that I didn't really want to see any of. Maybe I could have just layered those whole watercolor things on there, and then I wouldn't have had to worry about where things went and covering up white. Then I got out this cheesecloth. I talked about this in my updates video recently and how I dyed it. My plan here was I was going to rough up the edge of this page, and I just let them dry a little before I tried to tear them, because if they're not set when you do that, you just get a mess. So that's why I left it for a bit. Then I brought in the napkin, and like I said in my project share video, I crinkled them up on purpose. I just really wanted them messy. When you make cards or when you're doing decoupage, you usually want your napkins really sleek and smooth. But I think sometimes they get noticed more if they're a little chunky. And you can do the same thing with crepe paper on a page if you don't have napkins. Be careful with colored crepe paper though, because it will smear around. Then I just took some globs of glue and did the edges because I was trying to bunch them up. I didn't want them smooth. And the lips and her face is so bold. I was trying to figure out what else was going to go with that and how it was all going to come together. Then I grabbed a wet paintbrush. I always forget about this technique, and then I see people do it and think, why don't I do that? I grabbed a wet paintbrush and went around the edge of the napkin. So it gives you a rough or natural looking edge, like a perfect tear, and you can decide exactly where you want it by putting the water there. So you can use a paintbrush, you can use a water brush, you could use a wet finger, however you want to do it, but it makes it tear and you don't have to worry about like a mistear and tearing your butterfly in half or something, which I could put it back together, but I would have been sad, right? Then I'm just smooshing some glue in at the edges and crinkling them up, and I love that butterfly. If you are nervous about doing mixed media projects or glue book projects, get out things that make you happy, colors that make your heart sing, and put them together. You cannot go wrong if you use things you love. Maybe this page doesn't make your day better, but it totally makes mine better. Maybe if yours was all pink or all green or green and purple, whatever it is, just get things out that make you happy. I have a tendency to save, oh, I like this, I like this, I like this. Well, at some point, don't you want to take all those items out of a box or bowl or bag and put them on an art project so you can enjoy them? Go for it. Totally do it. So you can see how it's laid out. Then I have those bits of napkin that I took off, and I thought, oh, I'd like those. So I just put them on the seams of my paper, softened it up a little, added a little more of that texture and color from that napkin that I loved. And then I got some more of the blue and white napkin edge and decided that I needed things. I made it like it was two separate pages. I didn't have anything on the left that was on the right except for the first layer of watercolor. So then I grabbed some of that napkin and put it on the other side, just trying to connect those dots. Maybe some of those things I should have torn into smaller pieces and put around the page. Now this cheesecloth, I have an idea, and I was gonna lay it sort of just like that across her cheekbone. I don't know, it needed to be over there. Had some vertical fabric on the one side. Then I'm experimenting, trying to decide how long it's going to be. I got out my tiny attacher because I was going to staple it on the page. But then I realized the page on the back is really important to me. Some pages I wouldn't care at all, but the page on the back was for Pooh Bear, and I just didn't want to staple in that page. So I decided I was going to glue this on instead. There aren't any rules. If it's your book and you want to staple through a previous mixed media goodness page, go ahead. To change that up, I could have stapled it to some paper and then layered it on, but I didn't really have any more paper that I wanted to attach at this point, so I just used the glue. And I didn't push it down. I didn't spread the glue out too far. I didn't push it really far down. With matte medium or most glues, you can make a fabric pretty smooth if you want to, but I kind of wanted it a chunky, streaky mess. And I liked that my coloring is streaky like that instead of evenly dyed like I've done on so many things. Then I just cut that off. It was more than I wanted there, so I took it off. Here's where I'm trying to connect the napkin and the fabric scrap. There's so much glue on me that things won't come off of me. So it's about time to wash up at this point, but I'm stubborn. I just want to finish my project. I'm having fun. Part of the challenge, so Melody sent me this kit, and it's a challenge. and I'm supposed to add a word. Well, you knew when you saw this page what my word was going to be. For me, I have so many different dies and stamps and different things that say joy. I was trying to figure out how big I wanted it because I didn't want it giant, triple layered, iridescent, take away from the page. I just kind of wanted it to blend in. And then I could not decide where I wanted it. I kind of liked it on her cheek, but then I decided to go on the left. And I got out my blues and tried to find the closest to her lips, sort of, not adding another color, but reinforcing it. So it's blue metallic, and it's a little bit like her lips. Her lips are just so shiny. And I even put the dot for the J. Now, here's a funny thing that happened. I cut that out of super thick paper, and on a normal card or whatever, I wouldn't have had to worry about gluing down the J and the Y. So I laid it on the page. The page was kind of damp. It had dampness from the napkin where I edged it. It had dampness from the glue. So the joy started curling up. So that's why I had to go back and touch up the edges and flatten it out, because it just wasn't laying down. And there you can see the texture and the variety of blues. I mean, how can you get more goodness on a page? When I looked at it through the camera, it looked empty to me above her face. That's one of the tricks that people say is take a picture of your project and look at the photo. I film with my phone, so that doesn't always work. But when I looked at it from your perspective while I was holding it up, I realized I needed a little something up there above her head. And this was one of my favorite techniques is distress oxides and water on stencils. And this was just a bit that I cut off of something when I was making a card background. If you haven't done your distress oxides and then wet stencils where you just spray the stencil with water and then lay it on your project for about 5 minutes and take it off, it's just so fun and so easy. They all turn out wonderful. So there we go. Bit more teal on the page, bit more color. Oh yeah. I don't know. I put that there and it just made me happy. That's how glue booking and mixed media are sometimes. Maybe there's no right or wrong. You didn't necessarily have a plan. Just get out stuff that makes you happy. That flower was from the kit that Melody sent me. I mean, almost all this stuff is. Only the cheesecloth and my distress oxide bit and maybe one other thing. Oh, the joy. Just putting things together that make you happy. Have fun with it. Oh my gosh. And if you get glue all over you, don't worry. It'll wash off eventually. You'll get your fingerprints back. There you go. That's my finished page. I did not edge it. I didn't take a pen to it. I just left it natural, messy, ruffled edges and enjoyed it. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.